Doing curriculum research can be fun, but I think that lesson planning can be fun too. I love to organize information and to make a plan, and lesson planning involves all of that. You may have very different feelings about lesson planning, and that's okay because you've got options when it comes to creating lesson plans. I'm Leslie Maddox, an engineer turned homeschool mom, and I want to help you customize your homeschool. In the last Homeschool Planet Decoded video, we talked about how you can explore your curriculum and book list options. In this video, let's explore lesson planner options so that you can choose a lesson planner and be ready to go when it's time to create those lesson plans. If you Google Homeschool Lesson Planner, you'll find options for general lesson planners and homeschool-specific lesson planners in both digital and paper form. Some paper planners are pretty inexpensive, especially if you purchase printable lesson planners from the Teachers Pay Teachers website. And if you purchase a printable, you can print it year over year, so that makes those a budget option. Other more name brand physical planners are beautiful, but they get a little pricey, like the Erin Condren Teacher Planner and the Well Planned Day Homeschool Planner. There are also digital options that require a subscription. Since there is such a wide variety of options, let's first think about what need you want to fulfill. After you've determined your actual need, specifically how you want a lesson plan and what you want the lesson planner to do for you, then you can narrow down your options to the ones that are most likely to work for you. So let's tackle the first question. How do you want to lesson plan? I see three major possibilities here. The first is a highly detailed lesson plan. With this type of lesson plan, you know exactly what learning activities and assignments you and your students are going to do each day, down to the page number. You might plan the entire year up front, or you might plan week to week. Either way, the plan will be very detailed. The second possibility for lesson planning is subject planning, where you know exactly how you're going to progress through a subject or curriculum, but the learning activities aren't tied to specific days. Instead, you'll have a general plan of what subjects you'll work on each day, and on those days, you'll just do the next activity on the subject plan list. The third option is what's often referred to as reverse planning. With this type of planning, the focus is on documenting learning activities each day rather than have a checklist of assignments or activities. You might have a general plan of what subjects to cover on particular days, but that will really depend on your family. For example, maybe there's a general plan to do some math, reading, and writing every day with history on Mondays and Tuesdays, science on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and extracurriculars on Fridays. Then each day, you or your student would log what they did for each subject each day. Maybe they completed an assignment or two in their math curriculum and read a few chapters in their current book and researched butterflies for an essay. You get the idea. Which of these lesson planning methods you plan to use will depend on both your family's structure needs and the legal requirements for homeschooling where you live. And you'll probably end up with some combination of the different lesson planning methods. For your structure needs, look back at your family focus statement if you're following the Homeschool Planet Decoded method of planning and organizing your homeschool. If not, just ask yourself, for this season, how structured or flexible does your family need to be? Does your family function best with a high level of structure? Do responsibilities and family plans require a lot of flexibility, or are you somewhere in between? Maybe you want to be very structured with some subjects and loosey-goosey with others. In my family, I'm very structured with core subjects like math, writing, and spelling, and more flexible with history, science, and typing, for example. After thinking about how structured your family needs to be right now, look at your local homeschool laws. Refer back to your legal requirements worksheet if you're using the Homeschool Planet Decoded Starter Kit. If you live in a region that requires a lot of documentation and oversight, you may need to use a lesson planning method with more structure. My recommendation, if you're unsure, is to use a subject planning method and dedicate particular days of the week to specific subjects. If you're using the Homeschool Planet Decoded Starter Kit and my method for planning your school year, you've already come up with a draft for a weekly routine using the Weekly Routine Planner worksheet. You'll use the finalized version of that routine with the subject lesson plan worksheets I've included in the starter kit. And if you need documentation, you can use the weekly student log worksheets from the starter kit as well. You can find a link to the starter kit below. Once you've thought about what lesson planning method or combination of lesson planning methods you'd like to try, you're ready to think about whether you want a digital or paper planner. Here are my thoughts on thinking this through. A paper planner, either one of those fancy, hefty paper planners or lesson planning worksheets that you purchase, print, and put into a binder, work best if you'll be at home a lot. If you're a family on the go, You may not want to carry that planner or binder around with you. It's just a pain. A paper planner isn't as easy to change as a digital planner either, especially if you are highly structured in your planning. If you're someone that likes to decorate your planners, you may lean toward a paper planner and be salivating over all the sticker and washi tape possibilities. But I wouldn't make this decision over the desire to decorate or have a beautiful paper planner. Make this decision on how you plan to use it. You need the right tool for the job, because it doesn't matter how beautiful a hammer is if you need a screwdriver. Digital planners work for people that, first and foremost, will be on their device multiple times a day. If you don't spend time at a computer or on a tablet, it'll be out of sight, out of mind. I ran into this problem in my first years as a stay-at-home mom. I'd spent 13 years in the computer industry, so I was on a computer pretty much all day. I lived by my Google and Outlook calendars. It worked so well for me that I continued to try to use Google Calendar for appointments even after I became a stay-at-home mom. But my days at home were spent caring for babies and toddlers, not in front of a device. I didn't admit that it wasn't working until I missed a dental appointment. Well, what actually ended up happening was that I'd asked my mother to come watch the kids while I was at the appointment. But we got to talking and made the impulsive decision, very unlike me, to go shopping. Totally forgot that she'd come over for an appointment, not a visit. I didn't remember about the appointment until we were out and about, too late to make it. I felt so bad and so stupid. So maybe the reason I missed that appointment was due to the brain fog ever present when caring for small children, but I felt like if I'd had a paper planner sitting on my counter, I wouldn't have forgotten. That's just how my brain works. I need to see it. So I switched to a paper planner for a few years until I started homeschooling. I knew before I started homeschooling that I was going to need a digital planner. Since I was new to homeschooling, I wasn't aware of reverse planning and I didn't think to rely on a subject plan. As far as I knew, the only option was to create detailed daily plans. And I did like the idea of having a detailed daily plan available to me, especially on difficult days when I was just trying to survive until my husband got home. But I had zero interest in writing out a year's worth of plans, even weekly, since common sense and life experience had taught me that things go wrong. Kids get sick, moms get sick, days are interrupted by appointments and broken dishwashers. Because of all that, I wanted to be able to easily move assignments to other days, or even to cancel school for a day. I felt that a digital planner could handle that need better than a paper planner. So what do you think? Will a paper or a digital planner work better for you? If you do decide on a digital planner, there are even more options, thanks to the technology available. What a time to be alive! You know those inexpensive printable planner worksheets that you can purchase? You can use those same worksheets in an app like GoodNotes. If you use the Homeschool Plan Decoded Starter Kit, I encourage you to use it in GoodNotes. I created it with that possibility in mind. If you love a spreadsheet, you can lesson plan with spreadsheets. You can also find homeschool planning software, apps, and websites. But I recommend that you find something that you can use on multiple devices, not software that sits only on your computer's hard drive. I've been using Homeschool Planet from almost the very beginning of our homeschool experience. It's not perfect, but it meets my needs. And I like that I can see my lesson plans on my desktop, laptop, tablet, and phone. That really saved my bacon when we moved and spent a few weeks first in a hotel and then in a home without internet service and most of our stuff in storage. Since digital planning allows you to make changes so easily, it will work with any lesson planning option, detailed, subject, or reverse. If you do detailed planning with GoodNotes, I would definitely stick to planning a week at a time. You could take whatever planning page you use in GoodNotes and fill it out with a typical day or week. Then use it as a template by making a copy of it each week and updating as necessary. That'll save you some time. You could do a similar thing with printable planners, but in general, you'll want to have a good idea of how you would like to do lesson planning before purchasing a paper planner so that you can be sure that the planner has the layouts that you'll need. While I do recommend in my starter kit that you do subject planning and have worksheets for that, I also have included worksheets for daily lesson plans for 4 students and 4 subjects on a page for those among us that prefer printed, detailed planning. The worksheets are editable, so you can type in your students' names and subjects and print out a few to fill out as needed. Since I covered so much, let me summarize quickly. Number 1, think about what type of lesson planning you would like to try: detailed, subject, or reverse. Make this decision based on your family's structure needs and the legal requirements you need to adhere to in your region. Number 2, decide if you'd like to try paper or digital planners. This will depend on if you will regularly spend time on a device and how much writing you want to do. Number 3, Once you decide on digital or paper, look for a planner that supports your preferred lesson planning method. I will warn you that the way you lesson plan will evolve over time, and that's a good thing. Right now, you just need a place to start, a point to evolve from. So don't buy a lesson planner just yet. Think about it for a while because you may change your mind. And also because your decision may be impacted by what we talk about in the next Homeschool Planet Decoded video, curriculum systems. Again, you have options for how you organize your curricula and related items. Knowing your options will help you so much when it's time to organize and make final plans for the school year. Remember that you can access all of the videos that walk you through the steps of the Homeschool Planet Decoded method of customizing your homeschool right now at the link below. And happy planning!